Hey there, folks. It's sequel time, and you know what that means. Sometimes the sequel is better than the original, right around with being as good as the original, or a complete sucky version, or a version that's not as great but still enjoyable to watch. In this case, Child's Play 2, released in 1990. This is of course, obviously a sequel to the 1988 pretty funny and pretty good film. And in this one, we get to see the aftermath of what happens. The mother is taken, well, not in a mental institution, but taken, and we get to see Andy, who is being placed in foster care for right now, and is like, okay, so who's going to adopt him? Lo and behold, it turns out to be this one family that also has an older 17-year-old daughter there. That his family is, I guess, kind of hanging in there, but where the heck else can he go? So it's like, he gets adopted, and of course, the dang doll comes along. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And what follows is traditional sequel formulas here. This time we have a more, I guess, advanced doll here. And what does he do? He's more of a threat than now. Whereas in the first one, I don't know, takes roughly 40 minutes in the first one for him to get the ball rolling. Here, it's about, 25? Which I'm like, yes, I want to see more puppetry and theatrics, and the puppetry and the theatrics here was really good. We get some more advanced movies. And again, this is on a Blu-ray, so you can tell it looks really nice. The film itself knows that it can't really top the first one, so it kind of delves into I guess, more comedic slash interesting take on consumerism, which I'll get into here. And, when I was watching this, I got enjoyment from it. Obviously, it does not have the suspense or the build-up of the first one. Here, it's like, whereas in the first one, I had voop, and now we just have everything just kind of even with the killings and everything, but it feels alright. I'll admit, it does take a little bit for us to get to the killings. I'm like, can we please get anything? And it take roughly 40 minutes. The family that is happening here gets pretty much eliminated. The mother and father get eliminated by being hung upside down, and the mother at the sewing machine. That was interesting to see. I don't know, roughly, 40 minutes in, it's like, we get to see the carnage afterward and get to see the father get strung upside down, which is gruesome in ways. Just like, ugh. So, obviously, this is unfamily values in this case, but the movie seems a little bit slower, in my opinion. I don't know. It just feels like they just want to get all the family stuff out of the way first before we can finally get to the conclusion, which take the conclusion inside the distribution center with all the good guy dolls. Yeah, I don't know. I was a little bored, but then again, as I record this, it's 1:51 in the morning. I'm getting sleepy, so maybe it was just the time between one slashing from another. We did get roughly five victims, I believe, which is alright. Probably the best one, in my opinion, is that there's the teacher who's being a real a-hole to Andy, despite the fact that the kid went through a really rough time. So it's like, she locks him in a classroom, says, keep your head down. She goes away for 10 minutes, returns, thinks that Andy has gone in the closet, so she goes and investigates the closet. Boom, Chucky appears and pretty much just takes a knife, takes out a freaking a yardstick and just starts walloping her butt, saying, "Oh, you've been naughty, Miss Kettle Burner, Kettle Drum, whatever her name is." Well, it zooms out, and we hear, "You've been naughty." We hear the wax at least 3 or 4 different times. One zoom, zoom out. That was funny. Yeah, the humor here feels, I don't know, maybe a little bit more sophomoric, but at the same time, it's like, what do you expect with a talking doll? Like, what do you expect with an evil talking animatronic that's gotten possessed by a person who knows voodoo? Yeah. But it's fine. It's an alright sequel. The music is good. It's got use of like quick you sharps, more sharps rather than flats to highlight kind of more of the, I don't want to say Looney Tunes esque soundtrack, more of the, I guess, Guignol, very, very bloody and brazen. That's what this movie felt like. It felt very Guignol with its sardonic approach and blood and everything. So I can at least respect it for that. But yeah, it felt obviously how they had wanted to cash in really quickly and get a sequel going on. Yeah, Alex Vincent is very good in this. It's like now he's actually, now the kid's, he was a little bit older, I think, so he could perform a couple more stunts. Obviously, they didn't have him like climbing up like this conveyor, like this little roller belt thingy. I think they had like a stunt double. But it was cool to see him like actually act a little bit more with better lines and stuff. So I'm not blaming him at all for that. So obviously, he's the star of the show, so you do feel bad for him. And he's obviously placing a home. He's got a sister. And he pretty much tells him, hey, you're gonna learn from this, but you have to be strong. Okay, this is what I did, and you could tell. It's alright. Yeah. What else? Originally that the mother was supposed to appear in this, but ultimately because the director wanted to go into a different story, she did not. But because her husband was like the principal doll puppeteer, she would often appear on set to support him. So technically, she was in the like off and nothing to do with the production, was there to support her husband. So yeah, there would have been a scene showing Andy going to a mental institution, but I think that may have been a little too rough, so they reused it for the 2013 movie. And yeah, you know, yeah, this movie is fine. What some people may feel like what's wrong with this, I don't know. Maybe just it gets a little Looney Tunes esque towards the end, which I do have to agree with. But I don't know. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. But yeah, it's got all the usual trappings of the sequel. Try and be a little bit more interesting with the humor. But yeah, I guess the central theme for this movie was one. It shows how much a corporation is willing to cover up something quickly and cheaply by just slapping a new coat of paint on it, and rather than actually addressing the situation. Two, how horrible the foster system can be, because by not either A, doing a background check on any parents or something like that, and B, like how a kid can feel alienated and isolated because they're not feeling like they're real member of a family, and that can definitely hurt their self-esteem and how they feel. Plus, there have been other stories and stuff like that in the past. And of course, how far violence can carry one. So ultimately, it's just about a balancing act, and of course, obviously, with the consumerism at the end, just how much people are willing to buy the newest and latest product, like all those stupid Labubus or whatever they're called. I'm just like, you're injuring yourself and toppling over something over a fad. That's exactly what's going on here in this movie. Just these wall of freaking good guy dolls. It's just people are going to buy all this, and they just get brainwashed every year. Of course, this movie does take place around Christmas. Technically, make it a Christmas movie in the loosest sense. But yeah. Overall, Chucky, Child's Play 2, not as good as the original, but you know, if I had to rate it, I don't know, 2.5 out of 4. The movie's fine. So yeah, if you want some humor, you know, Brad Dourif, he voices Chucky. Yeah, then I recommend that you watch Child's Play 2.